Welcome to A State of Mind. This is Julian Royce. I am so excited to be sharing this conversation with you all today. Today I'm speaking with Tulku Yeshi Rinpoche. And I'll say a few words about him, but I really hope you can listen to the whole conversation because it's so rich and for me was so rewarding, both on a personal level and also just so excited to get to share it with all of you. Tulku Yeshi is a Buddhist teacher. He's considered the reincarnation of Dzogchen Gyalt-sab Thodo Rinpoche, if I'm saying that correctly. And he's not just a Buddhist teacher, he's a fully trained Tibetan Lama. He has received Buddhist teachings from 45 different masters, as well as teachings around traditional Tibetan medicine. And these different teachers are from all 5 schools of Tibetan Buddhism. So he's received an incredible number of teachings, and he's just a treasure, has so much to offer. He was born in Tibet, and now lives, I think, most of the year in Seattle, but he teaches around the world. And again, what an honor to have him on the podcast. I don't really want to say too much here. I just want to let you all listen to the conversation and enjoy it. There are links to his website and Facebook page in the show notes below, as well as a list of topics in chronological order. And as always, feel free to send me messages and comments and questions you may have that arise in relation to the podcast. In fact, about a week from now, I'm speaking with another highly trained Buddhist teacher named Khenpo Pema Wangdak, who's a senior teacher in the Sakya school of Tibetan Buddhism. So I'm really looking forward to that. And if you have any questions ahead of time for him, feel free to send them my way. So without further ado, I'm very honored to bring you Tulku Choying Yeshi Rinpoche. So I'm here today with Tulku Yeshi Rinpoche. Rinpoche, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me today here.
Yeah, this is a real honor. And I was just going to ask for, a lot of these listeners are familiar with Buddhism and know about it, and they've probably heard the title Rinpoche before, but would you care to explain a little bit what that means and how you came to be called that?
Rinpoche? Mm-hmm. Generally, Rinpoche means treasure. Treasure, sometimes very rare, sometimes valuable. Then I think, since like Guru Rinpoche, Pema Sambhava, he visited Tibet, people start to call him Guru Rinpoche, okay? The precious master, the valuable master. And then since then until now, people call their masters, and even they never met this master, but still like highly respect. So it's not important you met this person or not, but this masters like Dharma activities, the benefits. And then this title still we keep continually. So now maybe more like like the Rinpoche, this title not only in Tibetan like society or Tibetan community or Tibetan people, maybe it's now come out, maybe like a Western, like American Rinpoches, Chinese Rinpoches, Vietnamese Rinpoche, Spanish, why not? Japanese.
So someone from any culture or nationality could be given the title Rinpoche.
Yeah, something like that, I think now.
Nice. Yeah. Well, do you want to share with us a little bit about your life story? You were born in Tibet, correct?
Yes, I was born in Tibet during the Cultural Revolution.
Wow.
And then when I grew up, like when I was 7, 8, 9 in Tibet, there wasn't like the sign or symbols of religion. It's gone. It's not only Tibet, entire China. Okay. So there's only the broken walls, and then that's all. And then later, 1980s, the Chinese, the policy, a little bit open. Then the local people start to rebuild temples, monasteries, retreat centers. And then some, look like 10%, maybe 15% masters come back from the what do we call, re-educate camp, like those who didn't die, and only 10% or 15% they come back and then start to give some the vows like refugee vows, monks nuns vows, bodhisattva vows, and then the young generation, young people join the monasteries, temples. Then I joined to. Luckily, I met amazing educated, realized masters. So I spent 10 years in monastery and different monasteries. But within this short time, I learned lots. Really, really, like Buddhism, the sutra, tantra, and the history, poetry, astrology. Lots, really, lots. I learned lots. Yeah. And then 1994, I crossed the Himalayas, walk. Yeah.
Just to ask a question here. So when you were born in the Cultural Revolution, is that the 1960s?
Cultural revolution started 1966 to 1977, something like that, 10 years.
And so there was no signs of religion. And then in the 1980s, they started to rebuild some of the monasteries.
Yes.
And so when you said 10 to 15% of the people came back from the re-education camps, that means that
because since 1959 to 80s, a lot of the spiritual masters, they took to the re-education person and a very, very, terrible person, So a lot of them executed and thousands of them died by torch, starvation, and disease. That's only 10 to 15% came back, survive.
So
those spiritual masters.
That's terrible to think about, that the rest actually didn't survive that. There was a real kind of concentration camp situation.
Yeah, even you within you, like your practice help you lots, because the reason, like last year I finished when the Kajipa master. I have like masters from Gelupa, Sajapa, Kajipa. One my Kajipa master called Gyalt-sab Rinpoche, when I translate his biography to English to Tibetan language, especially the one chapter I translated from the volume 2, that when he was in the re-educated person, he met another very, very, the qualified masters from the New Mapa, the Dzogchen master, Kambo Master Rinpoche, and then how he learned Dharma there, how he, how to say, like kind of like a renew his the spiritual energy. Okay, so even you renew your spiritual energy very high level, but still you're a human being. You need a food, you need a lot. That's why even the within, inside, within, like spiritual power and a lot of compassion, wisdom, but the outer world, those terrible. That's why 80%, 90%, 85%, those masters gone.
Oh man. Yeah. Such a painful history, really.
Yes, very, very, very.
Well, so just on this point, in the 1980s, when things were being rebuilt and some of the masters did come back from these camps, were they able to recreate how things were in the past? Like, I mean, I imagine like some things were lost, right?
Yes, one way, yes. One way, there's a lot of, limited, yeah. You need a lot of permissions, like the monastery temples, there's permission, the numbers, how many monks, nuns, yogis, yoginis can live in this monastery, okay? And look, most educated, realized masters gone. And then the general monks, nuns, yogis, yoginis, also many of them, die. So a lot of the lineage teachings is disappear.
Oh, man.
The physical practice, mentally practice, even though the melodies, different melodies, chanting melodies, the spiritual dances, sculptures, and a lot of those culture disappear. Disappear. And then there's only few those masters, those former monks, nuns, some yogis, they remember, because the textbooks is gone. Totally gone. Only few publisher. There's a very famous publisher in Kham area, Degi.com. Degi publisher, publication, Degi publication. So the wooden printers, so they are still there. If they gone, then the Dharma totally gone. So then after 1980s, then those Dharma published reopen, and then we publish some Dharma texts, and then but still a lot of them they already are told the melodies, the dance, these postures, the mudras. Look, and many of them the gone. The lineage is gone.
Yeah, that's wild.
So now I think only 75%, or maybe less, or maybe a little bit higher. Lots of them already gone.
75% gone, or 75% still?
75% maybe still alive.
Still alive.
Maybe around this kind of number. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Wow. A lot of people aren't aware of, or they don't think about it that often. It's a real cultural genocide against the Tibetan people, right? And still going on.
Yeah, Tibetan, not only Tibetans, the Mongolians, Chinese, and all it's in entire China has happened. The destroyed, most of those temples destroyed. The spiritual masters, monks, nuns, yogis, yoginis, gone. Most of them. That's 10 years or 15, 20 years. Very, very dark. But now if you go back to Tibet, you can see a lot of temples, a lot of monks, nuns, yogis, yoginis, some qualified masters. Looks okay, but I never never go back the last 20 years. So I really don't know the real insight. I can see only the pictures, videos. Looks okay, but the reality inside, I'm not sure, because I'm not there.
Interesting. Yeah, if you're not there in person, you can't really tell because the media is restricted or censored.
Absolutely. Yes. So only I can see.
Well, it just seems like the Tibetan people as a culture, they absolutely didn't forget or lose interest in Buddhism and their heritage, and they just seem so committed to the Dharma, right? It's amazing. I mean, do you think some people, I guess maybe after the Cultural Revolution, they moved away from Dharma practice, from Buddhism? Or do you think that it's still...
During Cultural Revolution, yes. During Cultural Revolution, you cannot. But even this, you cannot. But my mother, so since she woke up until she go to bed, entire day, when she working, whatever she's eating or walking or milking or whatever, she just chanting the sutra Mother Tara, Mother Tara 21 prayers, and the medicine Buddha practice, and Guru Rinpoche, and then the 35 Buddhas, the 3 category, the Confession Sutra, entire, unbelievable, every single day. So not only my mother, a lot of people, even during Cultural Revolution, they practice, and of course, a lot of them, they totally gave up. because it's so dangerous. And then 1990s, like from the lay people, lay society, especially the college students, once there's a college called Northwest College. So many Tibetan young, the college student influenced by some teachers who said, even the teachers are Tibetan, but they say, kind of like a religion is kind of like poison, okay? Like a religion look like a drug. So they exactly the copy from the Cultural Revolution. Yeah. So they influence many Tibetan young generation, especially from that college, Northwest, college.
Yeah.
But the general Tibetans, no matter which kind of age, they have been practicing the Buddhism even during the Cultural Revolution until now.
Yeah.
So yes, that's good. But last 20 years, since 2000 until 2020, okay, the modern education or the modern civilization, whatever, this kind of technology, you can see these things.
Mm-hmm.
One way it's helped a lot, increase or save the culture, Buddhist culture, Tibetan general culture, but on other hand, it's destroyed a lot. Like for young, people, like a video game and TV,
right.
like this social media. I remember when I was young, even during Cultural Revolution, after dinner, look, nobody comment. It's not really danger. It's a little bit like break time. So whole family gather, and sometimes my father was the chanting leader, sometimes mother, sometimes I, sometimes my brother. We chant, we pray like around 45 minutes. Many Tibetan family, they do that time, like that. But since 1990s, 2000, where the television and this kind of cell phone, social media, the internet, this culture is slowly gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Because after or during the dinner, watching TV.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or just go to online. This kind of.
Yeah, the phone, and even without the Cultural Revolution, as horrible as that was, modern life has a way of degrading, the traditional cultures all around the world, and that makes
sense. The modern cultural revolution again, not only in Tibet, even India. Yeah. Like 20 years ago, when I was there, the monks, nuns, most of them, their fingers busy with their malas, their mantras, like when I saw them, something like it. And then 2012, 2013, when I went back to India, Nepal, when I saw a monk or a nun or a couple of just, they're busy with like this kind of things.
The cell phone, man.
Telephones, that changed everywhere, not only in Tibet, outside Tibet, Nepal, India, Bhutan, America. It's changed. So I cannot say science is like, destructor, or science is like totally negative of religion. But if you don't know how to use it, use it. Right. If you cannot control your attachment or some, the dissatisfaction, so if you cannot, like when you go to this social media online or using this technology, yes, it's destroyed a lot of your religious practice. This is not a science problem. This is not a scientist problem. I think mostly this is who used this this material. Okay.
That's interesting. I mean, a big part of mindfulness is you get to choose where you put your attention. And our attention is being captured by the cell phone, by all the media. And so it's hard to not, I do it too, it's hard to not do that.
Yes. Yeah, it depends on you.
Depends on you. Yeah. Well, these things are designed to be addictive, right? And yeah.
Very much, because it's a business. So you can see iPhone like 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. Now is what? 13, 14. I have no idea. Look.
I think
So
we're on
continually.
13. Yeah.
Yeah, 13. I'm sure then 14 and 15, they never stop.
Well, so to go back to your life, when you did you have an interest in meditation from a young age and you chose that path, or was there pressure from your family to go into a monastery or anything like that?
Before 1980s, nobody told me like a meditation. Okay, only for my mother and my uncles, sometimes my father, chanting. So like a religious practice, look like chanting. Okay, reciting something. Not like I never saw like someone sit down, I never saw. But later when I joined the monastery, yes, it's so important. Like half and half. Half you should study, half sit down, meditate, with the chanting or recitation or just silently. Now you must, because Tibetan Buddhism is a Vajrayana Buddhism. Vajrayana Buddhism meant is practice with pure perception. That means you must like leave all unpure perception somewhere and then bring the pure perception. So that means you must concentrate, think about, be mindful. So yes, I joined the Tibetan Buddhism, the Vajrayana Buddhism. Meditation, concentration, it's part of life. You cannot avoid.
How old were you when you joined the monastery?
I really don't remember exactly, but I think 14.
14. Oh, okay.
I think so. Yeah, because I stayed in the monastery 10 years. When I leave, I was 24 something. Look, that means when I joined, I think I was 14.
Yeah. Well, you just shared an important point about pure perception. It's like it's really emphasized in Vajrayana Buddhism, right? Can you speak
Absolutely.
to that? Can you speak
yes.
to what that mean? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for asking me. This is very important, very, very important. Because when people enter the Buddhist gate, so there are three gates. First, the gates of refuge, okay, and second is the gate of Bodhisattva. Third is the gate of Vajrayana. So the Vajrayana gate is like the last one, or the most the important one. So when you enter the Vajrayana gate, there's like a key. The key is we call empowerments. The master gave you the empowerments, gave you like permission to practice, to visualize, to recite these mantras. And then sometime when you recite the mantra, when you visualize, with impure perception, with ordinary, vision, okay, with ordinary thoughts, you cannot do it. Because when you visualize the mantras, the quality of mantras is already pure, very, very pure, super pure, I can say. And when you visualize the deities, like maybe friend of you, maybe you visualize yourself as a deity, it's totally pure. They're pure, like an image, okay? So you must transfer this impure or ordinary thoughts, ordinary vision, transfer into pure vision, pure thoughts. So that's very important. Look like you switch your television, from like a black, white to color. And then when you go to see the movie, like a color to like a 3D. Vajrayana practice is totally like a 3D.
I think that's an important point.
Yes. So sometimes I said like a Theravada practice like black, white. you don't have much like choice, okay? Many colors, black or white. Mahayana is like the color movie. And then Vajrayana is like a 3D, because these visualizations must clear and pure very much. So you must feel you are in this mandala with these deities. You dancing, chanting with this dakinis. That means there's no space for impure vision or the ordinary thoughts, ordinary this movement. There's no space for them.
Huh. Sounds better than an iPhone.
Yes, if you can do it.
That's so fascinating. I mean, I wonder if engaging in these kinds of practices, especially the Vajrayana, you're actually transforming your own experience of the world, yourself, your perception of things in a way that may be hard to imagine if I have some little experience with it, but so I can sense that there's a lot more possibility there than I know. But that to keep coming back to the cell phone captures our attention, and it's very limited, it's very narrow, and it's very focused on you, and it's
not only it take your the spiritual practice, it take your health too, okay? If too much watching TV too much, okay, if you go to social media too much, with the cell phone too much, it's not really healthy. Really healthy. It's very, very bad for you. So we have to aware, okay? We have to know how long you're going to use those technology, how many hours, how many minutes you're going to spend the time for practice, maybe Mahayana, Theravada, Vajrayana, whatever which kind is part of your life.
Yeah. Well, of course you can be mindful while you use your phone, but it's just, the other point that I'm getting from you is that you can, there's these yogic techniques of changing your experience of reality, basically, right? That whereas in our culture, we're so obsessed with technology. We want to get new glasses or goggles or headphones or create a 3D virtual video game. And it's almost like in Tibetan culture, Indian culture, they were doing that from working within, right?
Yes, that's even the title, the name Buddhism, we call Nangpa. Nangpa means inner, inner, something inside. Some more important things, not outer, but inner. And not only inner, if you go detail, it's deeper, go deeper, your meditation, your recitations, okay, your visualizations, go deeper. There's a reality world in a very deeper level. It's there. It's not like imagination or, some science fiction movie. No, it's truly there. Truly there. But a lot of young generation, in the East, in the West, they don't believe because they never learned, they just satisfied just this kind of technology, what they can touch, what we can hear, what they can taste. Look, they think that's all, that's all. Like a science, science, that's all. They just believe only what the scientists said. They believe only what the doctors said. Yeah, look, this okay. I don't need a religion, I don't need a meditation. Forget it. They're just like an old idea, an old culture. It's almost like a garbage, okay? If they have little knowledge, they think, it's like trash. You can recycle, okay? But many of them totally blind. They think like a religion, like a Buddhism is like a garbage, useless, because now it's like 21st century, 2020, 2021, 2022. Look, only technology can help you, okay? Can help you, how to say, make money or find your partner. You can see. So order whatever you need online. Only technology. That's all.
Yeah, the technology will answer all your problems.
Absolutely. They think, yes, they believe something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, I think one way is good. There's some amazing culture, amazing like hope. Okay, some like, but on the other hand, that's not enough. Not enough, really. It's really, if you believe only this like tiny, okay, culture or something, but you bring your knowledge, you have to say you block your own knowledge. Okay, I can say you must open your knowledge. You open your brain, your heart more. Then there's you can learn a lot.
So it's almost like, yeah, you're speaking like a different kind of knowledge, a way of knowing, like a more inner way of knowing. Would that be a way to say it?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So need to believe like a Buddha or God, if you don't want it, totally okay. But there's a lot of things you can learn. There's a lot of, benefit things from the, different religion, different meditation, different like this kind, the ancient culture. Because of the ancient people, they are very, very smart. We cannot think only our generation is smart, no. Yes, your generation is still smart, but 1,000 years ago, hundreds of years ago, those, the ancient, the masters, and then meditators, they are also very smart.
Yeah, that's a good point. People have been around for a long time, and they figured some things out along the way.
Really, like go to Egypt, look at the, what do you call it, pyramid, the stupas. Look, how did they build this kind of stupas? Like even the modern scientists, I don't think they have any idea, how. If you don't believe like ancient people's knowledge, wisdom, that's an example.
Yeah, it's a good example. Well, this
Really.
is I have a question for you. Maybe it's a little, I don't know, cliche even, but when you think about Tibet and that culture in the past, do you imagine, or maybe even in your own life experience, like that people were happier without all the technology that we have now? Or how do you think about that question of happiness, human well-being?
Yeah, but still it's samsara, in samsara, okay? Still Tibet or Bhutan, people believe Bhutan is the one happiest, country, and maybe, in Europe, like in, I don't know, Norway or Swiss or, Sweden, whatever, the people believe very happy. But still there are a lot of, problems. Maybe you have a lot of, maybe when people talking about happiness, you have a lot of time. The work like 8 hours, you pay a lot of bills, maybe no need a lot of this kind of things. You have some time to do something else. Maybe that they think is happy in the Western, mind, Western view. But if you go there, when they have time, what do they use this time? Okay, like, this flexible time. If they use for very useful, then maybe it's happy, okay? But if they're like kind of like boring there, nothing to do, then it's not really happiness there, okay? Like Tibet, before this technology came, yes, we have a lot of time, okay? No need to worry too much. We have yaks, a horse, and also the sheep, and some donkey, some dogs, something like that. Look, and you don't need to pay bill, and you need cash every day. But still, I remember the nomad life in my region. More than 70% people live in until 1990s, people lived in the tent. So tent life, especially winter, super cold and windy. Look, and it's tough. It's a very, very difficult life, really. And then 1990s, people start to build houses. Yep, you move in the house. It's much better, but now in the house, the light, the electricity, and slowly people start buy motorcycle and then buy cars, pay bills. Like now you need more cash, and it makes you busy. Yeah, I think both the nomad life and the city life, if you can how to say, if you can hand out it, okay, you can if you know how to sell the problems, both sides you can find some happiness. But the Buddhist point of view is still in samsara. This happiness is always change.
Right.
Like you happy in the summer. How about winter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's something like that.
Winter must be very challenging in Tibet.
Absolutely. So no matter you're in Tibet or Bhutan or whatever, still in samsara.
Yeah, and there's always challenges, and yeah, that's a good point.
You cannot avoid, the old age, sickness, death. Look, you cannot avoid.
Yeah. Well, I listened to this. There's a teacher here in America called Tony Robbins, and I just was listening to him this weekend with a friend, and he says that happiness is really when you're growing, when you have growth in your life or your business, or there's a sense of progress. I was curious what you would say about that, because I feel like the Buddhist tradition has a kind of different understanding of what well-being, what happiness is, than this idea of progress.
There's the one, kind of like express. If you know what means is a satisfaction, means you are rich. That's what they say, So it's like that. Also, if you know how to enjoy your life, if you know how to transfer the sufferings, transfer into happiness, or at least some kind of like a mindful, acceptable. Mostly we don't want to accept the suffering, the problems. But many times we have no choice. We have to accept the suffering. And then after you accept the suffering, do you want to still, suffer with the suffering, or little bit relax with the suffering? Look. So you have like two choices. If you know how to relax with the suffering, much better than who suffer with suffering.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for appreciation, right? And contentment. I think that's what you're speaking to know how to appreciate what you have instead of focusing on what you don't have.
Yeah, like a marriage. Basically marriage, if you want to marry with somebody, you want to, spend some happy life with this person. But many couples look like they marry for like fighting. Okay, look, they marry for like suffering, because like everyday suffering. What is the point? What is your marriage point? Okay, if you fight every day, why you don't want to divorce? But many like my friends, every day they fight, but they don't want to divorce. What is the point?
Yeah, it's almost like where people get addicted to or attached to fighting, drama, suffering itself, like that they don't know how to like let that go or not have that.
Yes. Because that's like they use the addicted or like maybe they enjoy this fighting.
Maybe.
Recently I watched like a short video in the Facebook. There's one I don't know, it's a Hollywood actor or one guy, with the very popular guy. I knew this guy, but he talked with the other lady, and the other lady asked him, "What means love?" I think something like that. He said, "The real love man is like you fight for this love." He say, if you don't fight for this love, then what's the point of love? This kind of something like that, So, there's different like what do you call belief, or so how to enjoy, with your partner, or your friends, and with your life.
Mm-hmm.
Some they want like a peaceful life, like quiet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some they think, no, I have to do something, like I have to fight with my partner, then I'm happy.
Well, I think
like food, a lot of people,
Yeah.
they want to eat food without spicy. Yeah. A lot of people want to know, I want a spicy food. When it's spicy, like burn my mouth, then I'm enjoying.
Well, so like all these things, like if you're in a peaceful relationship, or you're single, or you're in a relationship where you're fighting, and I mean, it's all like quote unquote samsara, and you could kind of be able to enjoy all of it in some sense, right? At least in theory.
Yes, but peaceful quiet life is good for your health. Okay. Otherwise, every day you anger, jealous, fight. It's not good for your health.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Really, it's not healthy.
Well, what do you? One of my questions I was going to ask you about is around anger. I feel like I've heard so many Buddhist teachers talk about anger. It gets a bad rap. Obviously, I get that it's not good for your health, but it can be a kind of energy that can be saying no to something in your life, to create a boundary of if something's not good, to say no to it. That could be a kind of anger there that fuels like positive change. So how would you speak to anger in general?
Yeah, I think it's also depends on the different circumstances. Look at the Dharma protectors. Many of them wrathful, anger,
Yeah.
So why? Because they want to subdue the demons. Yeah. So they wanted people liberated from suffering. But their activity is wrathful, with anger, some weapons. Looks like Dharma protectors. Looks like. And American police officers, look, with the gun, very strong, and but generally, anger is not really healthy. It's not really good. Not really good. But beyond this anger, this feeling. There are many reasons. Many reasons. A lot of people, like myself, I believe, a lot of anger. Not only anger and attachment, and naturally very strong. That's Buddhist people. We believe because past life, something wrong in past life. That's why this person is anger person. Easy to anger. Look, almost his or her nature. Personality. Some, yes, they want people listen to them, or people have to do whatever they want, but it's impossible. Look, the anger, government or president, mayor, or their boss, their supervisor, husband, wife. Because those people don't do whatever he or she desire, yeah.
Right. Then you get angry. They don't do what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. That's almost pointless, because you cannot change the circumstances.
Right.
Look, if you know this, you must come. Okay, you must come. Give them kind of a chance. Sometimes your anger makes the situation worse. Really, really.
Yeah.
Because your anger kind of create someone's anger. This person create other angers. Look at more angers because social media. Yeah. Then there's 1,000 people anger. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So only some special or some some very, very different a situation. The result is the result of anger look okay. We can see some good things after your anger.
If it's protecting someone, or
Absolutely. Like you yell your children, when they, try to touch like fire or, like something, or you yell them. That's because you want to protect them. But if you want to destroy someone or some people or guru or, maybe culture or religion or, the idea or that kind of anger, very, very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Because not only yourself anger, because social media, you can like flourish your anger. You can plant the seed of anger everywhere, like racism, the racism, yeah? So terrorists and the racism and this kind of very, very dangerous, very, very dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing that social media can really spread emotion across people that otherwise might not feel it. Like you might be feeling normal and then you look at your phone and see something and then that makes you angry. Then you've that emotion has been spread through the technology.
Yes, that's why I have to create this kind of, very, very danger group, by your words, okay? The create from the anger, hatred.
Yeah. Well, so I guess one thing that I'm getting from what you're sharing is it's not healthy to be angry in general. If you're going through life just angry moment to moment, that's probably not the best way in terms of your own health. Yeah.
No. Yeah. It's very, very, danger or very bad for your health. High, the heart attack, high blood pressure and lots. No doctor say you have to, create or, anger is good for you. Nobody said, nobody said, no doctor, no religious, teachers, no one said. Even you're single, you're alone, but anger makes, your life is terrible. You cannot taste your delicious food. You cannot sleep well. Really, anger also make you so ugly. More wrinkles, especially here. Mm-hmm. And like your body always like kind of like itch, okay?
Like fire.
Uncomfortable because of anger. Uncomfortable. So, it's not really good. Anger is terrible. But those business people, business companies, they create a lot of like I'm talking about the video game. Look, video game, and then like the plastic guns. Look, even those kids, they use the guns, plastic guns. They knew how to use the gun. Even they're 6-7 years old. Look, right. Yeah. And then they watch the fighting game, kill, look, torch. This kind of games is like popular culture. Why? That's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Video game and those kind, especially in the fighting. Most of the video games fight. How to kill. Look, group by group or like person to person. Look, you can see. This is very, very bad culture. Very, very bad culture. This influence children's beautiful, peaceful mind, peaceful brain. When they grow up, they become violent person. Because in their mind, in their brain, used guns, machine guns, kill. Look.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a very, very dangerous culture in the West. I think that's why so many, violence, gunshots. It's very, 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 because since they're young, they grew up this kind of culture, like a video game, the plastic guns. No, that's not really the idea.
Well, and you're making a point about children when they're growing up, they're naturally peaceful. Would you agree with that? That human
100%. That's always I said. Even like in human history, like the historians, this person is so bad, like killer, he or she, mostly he, organize and kill like millions of people. But if you look back at those people's like a childhood, when they were like 5-6 years old, like normal children, normal child. But later when they grew up, even that time, no, like video game, kill, these kind of things. But when they grew up, when they start to go to school, and then they teach them, taught them maybe some religion, maybe some politic. Look, like this kind of race. We are best, they're bad. You can see. Our religion is good, their religion is bad, or our politic is good, our system is good, their system is bad. Look, hatred. They taught them hatred, anger. Look, and then later they become this kind of like a warrior or killer, or like that kind of people, because the social, like the system.
Yeah. Well, okay, I don't know if this is a difficult or even unfair question, but if, like, say, pre-modern Old Tibet was, as I can tell, probably was a lot more peaceful, and there was a lot more people interested in spirituality and meditation and nonviolence, do you think that that created the conditions for that culture, that country, to then be invaded by China because it wasn't defending itself, because it didn't have aggression? I mean, that there's a certain value to being able to protect yourself that unfortunately we need in the world, and that we're vulnerable if we don't. Like, if people are too peaceful, then they're vulnerable to their more aggressive neighbors taking them over.
When you ask me, I remember two sentences from like 900 years ago from the Kadambas, the Kadamba masters. They used two sentences all the time. Da nyarang sa tung, xing tarang sa tung. Da man is enemy. Nyarang sa tung man is forgive the enemies. Whatever they do, let them do.
Oh.
Xing tarang, xing means the field, your farm. Tarang sa tung means don't do anything. Just your field become like a wild, land. You understand? If you don't do anything, or you feel your farm, it's become kind of like a very wild. Right. You can see. So that's the thousands years ago, like 100 years, like 1,000 years ago, or 900, 800 years ago, the Kadamba meditators kind of like advice to their followers, like how to say, like, forget the samsara, forget the enemies, forget the how to say, like agriculture, so don't do that. Don't do those samsaric things. The rough things with enemies, and the peaceful things with like farmers. Forget it. Like, only meditate.
Just meditate.
Just meditate. So that's, I think, what happened in our country. Not only our country, later in Mongolia too. I heard the Mongolian young generation, many of them kind of like complain that Buddhism, they say, before Buddhism came to Mongolia was very strong because, Genghis Khan and a lot. But after the Buddhism came, people, start to leave the weapons, practice Dharma, peaceful. Then they give, others chance, like enemy, whatever they call, the other groups, other nations, other, the neighbor countries, like more chance to attack.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to think about.
Yeah, that's happened even in India. The Buddha, his father wanted his son become a warrior, very strong ruler, but Buddha, he became a monk. And then when his cousin became the king, but later the Shakya clan, the Shakya nation totally collapsed because they didn't have good rulers, good warriors.
So when the Buddha became the Buddha, it led to the collapse of the kingdom, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So that man is samsara and the nirvana. Many ways, yes, it's like opposite. Okay, opposite. If you take care, your liberation, your nirvana. Okay, your samsara become like worse. Okay. If you take care your samsara, your liberation is gone. Okay.
Oh, no.
Really. Ah,
That's such
so
a.
that's
It's good to hear that. It's like myself and a lot of people here in this culture, at least, we want it all. We want both. We want to be enlightened, and we want to have a good business, and we want a family, and we want, we want everything. And so it's tough to be
yes.
told.
If you do half, you got half. Okay, half a liberation, half samsara. Yes, because that is the result. Yep.
Yeah.
If you want a full samsara, you must leave this liberation terms. Okay. If you want to, achieve or attain like the full liberation, you must leave the samsara. If you want half liberation, half samsara, do half.
I love that. I think it's really good to be honest and upfront from the beginning with people about if you really get into meditation and you devote your life to that, then there's a cost to that, right? You're not going to be doing other things, and that could ultimately be wonderful and great. But I've seen in some people a kind of bitterness because they did go on retreat and they did do a lot of things, and then they don't have a good job or whatever, and they're kind of like figuring it out.
Yes, absolutely. No retirement, when
Yeah.
they need financial support, they're poor, it's difficult. That's I told people. A lot of my Western Sangha told me, Rinpoche, I want to, go like Nepal or India or somewhere like, 3 years retreat, 3 months retreat. I want to retreat. I told them, if possible, good. But if impossible, make your every day is like a retreat. Okay. Be mindful. Maybe you work at a restaurant, hospital, or somewhere. If you work restaurant, that means look, you benefit, you help others who need food. If you work at a hospital, look, there's so many patients. You also help other people. If you work at, the shoe factory, everybody needs shoes. Look, if you make shoes, that's benefit others. That's Dharma.
Yeah.
If you know what means Dharma, you can practice Dharma everywhere.
Yeah.
No need like with like a mala or like something like with whatever. Accept like a fisher. Okay, those kind of violence. Accept those. Many like your workplaces or whatever you're doing, you can transfer this kind of samsaric things into the Dharma practice. You no need, if you cannot go, you don't need to go to, like a retreat somewhere, and you don't need to do it.
Yeah,
that's why you can see the Indian, from the 84 Indian masters, many of them obtained the enlightenment with very, very ordinary samsaric, jobs. Really, like make sesame oil, like make arrows. Look, even some fishermen,
yeah,
like look, they enlightened with a very ordinary the samsaric job.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like that gets that's not talked about enough. That you can have a normal job and you can be practicing mindfulness all the time, and it can be genuine. It can be real.
Yeah, look at the Saraha with the arrow, make arrows. Yeah, and Telupa with make sesame, sesame oil. Concentrate. They keep their mind on the meditation. But before they start these things, they already made perfect masters. Already they received the perfect teachings, and then they do like those samsaric things. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're offering, I mean, that's a possibility too. You could have a job and you could become enlightened like the 84 Mahasiddhas, and that they met these masters, these teachers who, there's a quality of transmission. Do you want to speak to that, this lineage and transmission that's so emphasized in Buddhism, and it's not commonly known, or, in modern kind of more new age spirituality, people don't think about that as much.
So for Buddhist culture, last 2,000 years, lineage is very important. Lineage, very important. You cannot create like your own religion. Okay, you can create kind of like a branch lineage. That's okay, but you cannot create your own, religion something. Must receive the teaching from the lineage. This lineage until the Buddha. Until the Guru Rinpoche, you can see. And because this is not only knowledge, the blessings from the realizations. That's why you need the lineage. If ordinary or general like a study or general some knowledge, of course you can create your own, like science, scientists and this kind of things. You can create, no problem, no problem. Even like the Dharma melody, chanting melodies, most of them have like 1,000 years lineage. From Dharma until now, of course, generation to generation, a lot of change, but still there's some like string, like line, the lineage line, because the blessings, the realization blessings. That's why the lineage is so important. We can see in the modern lot of masters, like they create their own religion or something, so say, oh, I'm Guru Rinpoche, oh, I'm like, something people believe. But traditionally, you need a lineage, the lineage.
Yeah. Well, on that note, do you think it's possible for someone to go on retreat and receive empowerment and teachings from a real authentic master, receive those blessings, and then practice for the rest of their life without ever seeing that person in real life again? Or do you think there needs to be like a continual personal connection with the teacher to have real realization?
Yeah, it's totally okay, because you already received the teachings, the instructions from the master, and then totally okay, like a Malaripa. He spent around 6 years, 8 months with the Marpa after he received all teachings. He totally left. He never go back. So, a couple years later, Marpa passed away. And many of those masters, that's what happened. That's totally okay. Because there's one Tibetan word called Tu Il Seva. Tu is the master's mind. Yi means your mind. Seva means transfer, like mix, connect. You don't need to see the master personally, okay? Like always, seva, transfer master's mind into your mind, or your mind transfer your mind into master's mind all the time. So, and then that means you always connect to your master, especially with the devotion line, the devotion state. That's 100% enough. 100% enough.
That's good to hear and to think about, because it's hard to see these teachers in person and to have confidence in your practice that you can.
Because many times that's the good way. If you like next to your teacher every day, there's a lot of problems. Okay, you can see teacher's mistake, or teacher can see your mistakes, your problems. So the best is after teaching. If there's a little bit space, maybe you and the teacher maybe live like the same town or same cities. Of course, you can visit him or her like maybe once a week, or once a couple of weeks. That's okay. That's totally okay. But I'm talking about like your bedroom, teachers living room next to each other. That's too close.
Thanks. Well, I'm aware of our time. I wonder, the other thing I was going to ask you about is, and you could just speak to it as feels good to you, but like around psychedelics, and people are experimenting with these substances, and for a lot of people, it's a big part of their spiritual path. Do you have any thoughts to share or advice around if someone's taking something like psilocybin mushrooms as part of their spiritual path, or ayahuasca is a big tradition now? It's not traditionally done in Buddhism that I know of, really, but yeah, do you want to speak to that?
In Tibet, only realized masters, use some like alcohol, like some smoke. We didn't, Tibetans until now, we didn't have like marijuana.
You did not have it?
No, only the smoke, the leaves, for cigarette leaves,
tobacco,
and smoke. Yeah, smoke and alcohol. Some realized masters, they use them for benefit others. There's a beautiful story. Once one monastery got a terrible obstacle, very big obstacle. It's kind of like a disease, something. Many young, monks die many times, and then they ask many, masters. Nobody can help them. Finally, they ask one master who looked like an ordinary yogi, very like a simple and humble. Nobody can respect him as a high, master. But finally, they have no choice. They ask him. So when he came to the monastery, he sit down center of the temple, and he put one table in front of him, and then he 5 times he smoked this, the cigarette.
A cigarette.
And then cigarette, and then he throw the ashes from the smoke 4 corners of the table and the one in the center. Then he left. Said nothing. He left. Huh. Since then, the monk die is stuck.
Wow.
So when they ask another realized master, the master says yes, he did a huge fire pujas.
Oh wow.
So looks he just smoke, but within this something, the huge powerful fire puja. So
interesting.
So yeah, something like that. And a lot of times when the realized masters, when they heal other people's sickness, and they use a lot of they drink a lot of alcohol, or they let them the sick people drink a lot of alcohol, sometimes something like that. But for the practice, the increase or generate some special realizations. Sometimes they use some in Tibet, some kind of like a massage oil. Okay, it help your channels. So your channels are kind of like soft and flexible. Like the Yitunying compilation stage, there are a lot of Tulkus, the body yogas, and then one chapter is a lot of this kind of medicine, how to this kind of massage oil, and a lot of this kind of herbals, how to use. But there's no marijuana and this kind of drug, okay, like toxicant, no. But in India, sometimes some yogis, sadhus, their culture, they smoke. I can see. I don't know what is really inside. I don't know what is marijuana or just a regular, the smoke, the leaf. I don't know. We can see, a lot of videos, pictures. They smoke. Yeah, they smoke. Yeah.
I think marijuana is sacred to Shiva, at least for some of the sadhus in India.
So look, so they have their, method, they have their instructions, something, I don't know. It's beyond my mind. No matter you use them for your spiritual practice or just for fun, too much is a danger. Okay, too much is danger. Alcohol, smoke, whatever. It's too much. It's dangerous. They are not good. Too much is not good. Like the Vajrayana Buddhism, also like when we practice talk, sometimes, there's sometimes meat, sometimes alcohol. Look, if you just drink, a little bit for Amrita or some blessings, I think that's okay. But too much, not good. It's very clear. Guru Rinpoche, Pama Samba, many of those masters said, those yogis, yoginis, if you drink too much alcohol for your soul practice, it's a very bad karma. You create bad karma.
Yeah.
You toxicate, yeah. Then you lose your wisdom and your freedom or your energy, yeah. That's not good. So that's I can say, no matter marijuana or any other, drug or whatever, too much is danger.
Some moderation.
But under the prescription and the doctors, the advice. And maybe some your spiritual masters' advice, maybe tiny, I don't know, Buddhism, those kind of, smoke, we never allow. But the others, if you have some prescriptions and some, limited. Okay, if you know how to use, maybe a little bit, but still be careful. Be careful. Also, it's depends your country, the law, where you can use, where you cannot use, how much you can use. Yeah, it depends a lot.
Well, okay, so on this topic, what do you think about Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, who is famous for being drunk all the time and also a great master, meditation master, at least for a lot of people. He had a tremendous impact on a lot of people's lives, especially here in Boulder and places in America.
Yes. Historically, Trungpa Rinpoche was Mahasiddha in Tibet. Historically, his past lives, were great masters. Even this one, like who came to America when he was in Tibet, he was a Tirtan. He relieves, the Termas, and gave a lot of teachings, and amazing. And when he learned English, gave teaching on English, and wrote a lot of books, established Dharma centers, and kind of like seeds, the seeds of Vajrayana Buddhism in the West. Great, it's amazing. I cannot read a lot of his English books, but some of his poetry, in Tibetan. When I, read them, it's amazingly beautiful. And then, his alcohol and other things, I don't know, really. Only, who joined his, group, okay, who drink with him, they can judge, his relationship with other, those, only they can judge, okay. So what they feel in that time, what they feel, what they feel, you have to say, so what are their thoughts, their thoughts. It's almost like their generation. Something happened that time. So maybe it never happened our time.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, that's a good point. I've gotten to meet.
It's like a history. Okay, become like history.
Yeah.
So everyone can say something, but I think the reality, the truth is only that time who is around him, they can explain.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I was going to say I've gotten to meet some old students of Trungpa Rinpoche, and I always ask them about it. And in my experience, they've always been really positive. And for example, I met a woman who is old now. She's maybe almost 80. She's been meditating since she met Trungpa Rinpoche in 1970. And she talked about the drinking and all this, so she didn't have a problem with it. But so it's, he's very controversial. But the people that I've met in my life who actually knew him in real life, it's almost always been pretty positive. Which is fascinating. It's interesting because there's a lot around here, around Boulder.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a lot of negativities, even Buddha, how a husband left beautiful wife and his child, and then went to jungle and meditated. Which kind of man is this,
Yeah.
And if you judge, like Guru Rinpoche, there's a lot, you can find a lot of, unhappy things. You can find from Guru Rinpoche's biography, okay? If you judge something like that, only you're looking for a negative way. That's what I'm talking about, If you're looking for some positive, almost everyone you can find, positive and the good things, okay? So same thing, I think the Trungpa Rinpoche is his lifestyle or his story. When I read his biography written by the lady Diana in Tibetan language, last year, a couple of years ago, one Tibetan translator translated the whole book in Tibetan language. I read, and it's beautiful, very beautiful. Very beautiful book, very beautiful. It's very interesting. It's not easy. His time, came to West and plant the seeds in the West. He works so hard.
Yeah, well,
not only himself, his lovely, the pure Samaya Sangha, they help him amazingly, unconditionally. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, whether you like him or think he was good or bad or whatever, you can't deny that the amount that he accomplished in 17 years, because I think he died in 1987, just is mind blowing. Because there's like hundreds of Dharma centers across Europe and America, and all the books and all the teachings, and so it's just so much came out in such a short time. It's really amazing.
Yeah,
I think
but
you're
this
right. Like
kind
planted
of
the seeds, and maybe the seeds are going to take new forms. I don't know what the future will hold, but yeah, they've
yeah,
planted a lot
like
of seeds.
even my small Dharma Sangha, in America, many of them, like second generation from Trungpa Rinpoche's students. So we can see, we can see. So as he said, born as a beggar, die as a king. That's what he did.
Yeah.
So yeah. Amazing, I can say, really. If I have more knowledge, like my English is better, then I can read his, the treasured books, but unfortunately, my English is not there. So I have to read only in like Tibetan language, So still, I really cannot say how much his wisdom is, because all those books in English, not in Tibetan.
Yeah.
Only a couple of pages of his poetry. That's all. Nothing in Tibetan language. Yep. So I'm just waiting, who translate his books one by one into Tibetan language.
That's so interesting to hear that that's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened. So you guys so lucky because like you can read English. His all English books, unbelievable. So Tibetans still, like myself, look, so whose English is so limited. So I'm still like almost out of the gate of Trungpa Rinpoche's wisdom, really. So I cannot say much. That's one reason.
Sure. Yeah. The other thing it makes me think about is this concept of trauma, which has become so big in our culture, and it's obviously very big in psychology. But like for Trungpa Rinpoche, for example, he had to flee his country. He was a refugee. The Chinese invaded, and he lost everything and had to leave. And not just him, like lots of Tibetan people. And so there's this tremendous trauma. I wonder, like, I know we're maybe near the end of our time, but like in terms of the Buddha Dharma, the Buddhist teachings, this idea of trauma, like how does that fit in? Do you feel like that? I mean, it's a different culture, a different understanding, but yeah, I mean, have you seen that in your students and yourself, like working that the path of meditation will help you to heal trauma from the past?
Any religion, any culture, if you want to see the result, okay, you should work hard. You should work hard. Like if your body is a little bit heavy, you want to lose some pounds, and you go to you went to a bookstore, you bought one like a book for how to exercise, how to lose weight. But if you put the book on your table, you never do the exercise. What is the point?
Yeah.
Really? So if you want to use that book, if you want to lose some pounds, or if you want to more a little bit pound, feel more weight, you bought some vegetable or food, you have to cook them, you should eat them. Until you eat, there's not really a result much, okay? You just read Dharma, or you just look at this, just listen this teaching, or it's like you watch a movie, really. It's okay. It's good things, but the result is not really much. So do it. Meditate, practice, do something. Then you can taste, really. Then you can find the nectar, okay, from this. Not only religion, whatever, like a painting or play guitar or whatever, like hiking. Hiking means you have to hike there, not like watching someone hike or like look at the mountain. You must hike there, then you can see it.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Like yesterday, I watched a movie. It's like a documentary, in Alaska, the Denali, national park. Two American guys, they hike and like 4 hours to the top of the mountain and then look at the view. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Then I, post that like a picture and then my birthplace picture like next to each other. Unbelievable. Almost like 90% the mountains like same.
Wow, yeah.
Unbelievable, Tibet, Alaska.
Similar.
That means you should hike, okay? If you want to see the beautiful view, you should go to hike, okay? Also, you cannot, step, in the middle. Oh, I'm so tired. Look at the mountain tops there. You should go there. 4 hours, 6 hours. If you go there, then you can see the beautiful view. Okay, so you practice Dharma or any kind of.
You need to practice. But I don't know if this question even makes sense to you exactly, but I've heard people, more from the Western culture, from the perspective of psychology, talking about someone could meditate and they could be ignoring or repressing or kind of bypassing their trauma. Do you have any thoughts about that? I mean, that you could be ignoring like some deeper issue through your spiritual practice? Or do you think that that's not, if you're really genuinely practicing, then that shouldn't be the case, right?
Sometimes a wrong teacher, wrong instruction, wrong time. And sometimes like like energy practice, Tulku, this kind of thing. Sometimes we say, it's like the energy go wrong way, wrong side. Sometimes people like body is swollen, like lost consciousness. Even some people die sometimes.
Oh my God.
Yes, because energy is alone. It's a danger, So same thing, the meditations, okay? That's why you must have perfect teacher, perfect teaching, perfect student, and perfect practice. Those 4 practice, perfect, then the result is amazing. If one thing lose, if you lost one thing, very danger. Okay, remember, perfect teacher, perfect teaching, perfect student or practitioner, and then perfect practice perfectly. Very important.
Yeah. The 4 perfections. I like that. You really have to, like, if as a student, you have to take some responsibility for yourself, right? And you have to be honest with yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Because this body is precious, but it's very, very soft, easy to damage. Mind, physical, very, very soft. It's almost softer than like this glass.
Yeah.
So very, very be careful when you practice Dharma, physically, mentally, emotionally. Very, very be careful.
Yeah. Be careful. Be gentle.
Be gentle. Be mindful. Especially be mindful. For me, mindful means is think about what you're thinking, what you're talking, what you're doing. What are you doing? What are you doing? That means be mindful.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been a wonderful conversation.
Oh, thank you very much for having me here. And I have no idea, what I'm talking about with my broken English, but I hope there's some, something that I'm not sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's wonderful. And I just feel so privileged and so grateful to have you on and have a real lineage holder on the podcast. It's wonderful. So thank you.
I do my best. I'm doing my best. Still I'm just ordinary person, and I have to, prove and generate a lot of my, compassion, wisdom, devotion, energy, a lot. But still, whatever. I'm doing something. So I have to work hard. I really work hard. I need to really work hard.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I try to work hard too, but that's good to hear from you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of A State of Mind podcast. As always, if you'd like to support this, one of the easiest and free ways to do so is just share about it with your own friends and family on your own social media accounts. You can leave us positive reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And as always, you're welcome to call in or write us, send us your messages, questions, feedback, inquiries. All of that is welcome. You can learn more about my other work that I do as a therapist, meditation teacher, and coach at astateofmindcounseling.org. And if you'd like to directly support the show and become a member, you will receive some guided meditations as well as additional art and music and other things that we are cooking up here. You can do that at patreon.com/astateofmind. Thank you so much, and I will see you here next time.